I never thought a routine trip to the airport would end the way it did. I was just trying to get home. I was tired, frustrated, and just wanted to be in my own bed. I never imagined I'd be standing against a wall, surrounded by airport police, feeling like a criminal when all I had was a bottle of lotion. But things spiraled out of control so fast, I'm still trying to make sense of it. It all started at the security checkpoint. The line was long, moving at a snail's pace. People were sighing, checking their watches, and shifting from foot to foot. You could feel the tension in the air. I kept my head down, scrolling through my phone to pass the time, trying to stay patient. When it was finally my turn, I did everything right, or at least I thought I did. I took off my shoes, pulled out my laptop, made sure my pockets were empty. I even took off my belt, just to be safe. But when I walked through the metal detector, it beeped. That loud, sharp beep that seems to echo for miles, making everyone turn and stare. The TSA agent looked at me with cold eyes, the kind that make you feel guilty even when you know you haven't done anything wrong. He was a tall, broad-shouldered man with a stiff posture and a face that showed no emotion. He pointed to the side and said, "Step over here." I tried to stay calm, tried to keep my face neutral, but my heart started to race. I'd flown dozens of times before. I'd been pulled aside before. It was always a hassle, but it never ended up being a big deal. Just a pat down, a quick check, and I'd be on my way. That's what I thought would happen this time. I was wrong. The agent's hands were firm as he patted me down, moving slowly, deliberately. It felt more invasive than usual, like he was looking for something he was sure I was hiding. He did it twice, his hands lingering a little too long. I wanted to say something, to ask why he was being so rough, but I bit my tongue. I didn't want to make things worse. Then they went through my bag. They didn't just look inside, they tore it apart. They pulled out my clothes, my laptop charger, my headphones, everything. They unzipped every pocket, opened every container. People in line were staring, whispering. I felt exposed, humiliated. But I kept quiet because I knew if I spoke up, it would only make things worse. After what felt like forever, they pulled out a bottle of lotion. Just a small travel-size bottle. I forgot it was in there. I laughed, mostly out of relief, and said, "My bad, I didn't realize I had that." I thought that would be the end of it. But the agent didn't laugh. His expression didn't change. He looked at me like I was trying to play a game, like I was trying to get away with something. He called over another agent, and they whispered to each other, their eyes flicking back to me every few seconds. I started to feel uneasy. I didn't understand what was happening. It was just lotion. People carry lotion all the time. Why were they acting like this? Then the first agent looked at me and said, "Step over here." I hesitated, confusion twisting in my gut. "Sir, it's just..." But before I could finish, his voice hardened, his eyes narrowing. Now, my mouth went dry. My heart was pounding in my chest. I did as he said, my legs feeling heavy, my head spinning. They made me stand against a wall, my back to the cold, hard surface. People were still staring. I could feel their eyes on me, judging me, assuming the worst. I felt like I was on display, like I was some sort of spectacle. Then, 2 airport police officers showed up. They were big, muscular men with serious faces. They stood in front of me, arms crossed, looking down at me like I was some kind of criminal. I didn't understand. I kept asking, what did I do? But no one answered. They just stood there watching me. I felt my hands shaking. I tried to stay calm, tried to breathe, but my chest was tight and my mind was racing. I was scared. Not just because of the situation, but because of the way they were looking at me. Like they were waiting for me to snap, waiting for me to do something that would justify their suspicion. I felt anger bubbling up, hot and sharp. I was being treated like a criminal over a bottle of lotion. It didn't make any sense. I clenched my fists, my nails digging into my palms. I wanted to scream, to shout, to demand answers. But I knew how that would look. I knew that no matter how right I was, they wouldn't see it that way. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay quiet. I stood there, my back pressed against the wall, my head down. I felt powerless, small, humiliated. After what felt like an eternity, one of the officers sighed and said, "You're free to go." Just like that. No apology, no explanation. They turned and walked away as if nothing had happened. I stood there, stunned, my legs feeling weak, my heart still racing. I looked around, and people quickly looked away. pretending they hadn't been watching my humiliation. I slowly gathered my things, shoving them back into my bag with shaking hands. I felt tears stinging my eyes, but I blinked them away. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction of seeing me cry. I walked to my gate, my head down, feeling defeated. I didn't feel free at all. I felt broken. I sat at my gate, my body numb, replaying everything in my head, wishing I could have done something differently. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't have mattered. Seconds before it all happened, I was just another traveler trying to get home. But in their eyes, I was something else. And that's the part that hurts the most.